Alright, so this car here I picked up, and it didn't have a radiator in it. The front thermostat housing piece here was unhooked. There was no intake or nothing on it, and it was all white, pretty rough. Some damage to some areas, rust in the quarter panels, front windshield broken. I still got to do the windshield. I've got the front suspension stuff for it. I just haven't put it on yet because I don't have knuckles for it yet. Debating what I'm gonna do that route, but I've got the lowering springs and all, or coilovers, I guess. The back is already done. Coilovers are on the back. I did Rev 9 suspension. I went and got a radiator for it, and the hoses and intake and all that stuff. Put everything together on this thing. Got it wired up on a switch for the fans. A lot of that stuff was hacked up, and so I ended up making everything work here. Got it started up, runs good. Started right up, and fans are working and all that stuff. Only issue is, after putting everything together and filling all this and getting it running, come to find out that the water pump leaks. So now that I've already done all this, I got to take it all back apart and take the water pump off and change the water pump, which is, all up in there. Got to take all this stuff off. All this. Take everything off in there. Get to that water pump assembly back there. Change that out. And then put everything back together again and fill it back up. So unfortunately, I just didn't know that the water pump was no good. And now, after everything is fixed and together, pressuring it up, now we know. So now I've got to pull that apart. I think I'm going to get started on that here today. Start getting it pulled apart again and get to that here at some point, getting it all back together. I've got all the parts and all, just got to get it done. So that's what we're going to do. Get that apart and do the water pump and put everything back together and do it again. So that's where we're at, and then we should have this thing up and going good, where it won't have any issues running and driving and stuff. So I do still need to do the windshield and some other stuff though, and this will be one of the drift cars here. So we'll get this one going, and I'm gonna get to it. So I'll check back in with y'all later and let you know where we're at. Good news. X Music.
Eastside boy, turtle shit.
Some patchwork we did with the rusted battery box area. I just got it hooked up. See the coilovers I got in the back there. Got it hooked up here. We're gonna test it out. So found, I don't have a seat in this one. We just did some more patchwork and painted everything, and but it'll start and run. I'm still fixing it up. Got to do the windshield. If this fixes it, we'll start cleaning it up and getting it ready here. So I was thinking the water pump was leaking, because when I would, after doing the radiator and all, I saw it was leaking down here somewhere, but I had the AC and the power steering and all that stuff in the way. You couldn't really tell where it was coming from. So got all that out of the way, cleaned it up pretty good, and was able to see where it started dripping once I filled it up again. And where it was dripping from was this fitting here with these two bolts from about the middle. Took it off. I had already got the water pump and all, so I had the seals and all with the kit. But filling it up and testing it, that's where it was leaking at. So took that fitting off, and there was no gasket in there. It's just metal to metal. So I think that is why we were leaking. So I took the gasket from the water pump kit, went ahead and put that one gasket in there. And I'm gonna throw the intake back on real quick, and we're gonna test it like this and make sure nothing else is leaking, but I'm pretty sure that was the only leak. So if it saves me from having to go in and do the water pump, that water pump looks like it was changed at some point already. It looks a lot more fresh than everything else, to be honest. So I think somebody had changed it before and just didn't put the gasket in for that piece, and I don't know why, but it was leaking there. So we're gonna fill it up and see what it does. All right. Originally, I had fixed the little leak. It's a little plug back there. There's a little, like a nipple plug back there. I had to fix that leak originally. That one was leaking after doing the radiator and all, so the radiator got done, new radiator. Did all that, and then that's when I found that other leak happening down underneath. And so now change, oil filter, keep an eye on things, you know, fuel filter and all maybe. Wouldn't be a bad idea, but I think it's pretty much fixed for now. I'll pin wires and some stuff out of the way, set that air filter stuff up ready. But basically, I think it's pretty much good at this point. We'll do a little more TLC kind of stuff to it, but it looks like